Once again, good morning, everybody. In the previous class, we looked into what is project identification and how do we select the project. Selection is a very important, and the kind of a selection of the project, it will have a greater impact on the success of the enterprise. So we saw the importance of the selection and what are the criteria that can be used for selecting a particular project from a set of projects. So using different kinds of analysis related to market, related to the project, related to the finance aspect, related to the other environmental factors, we decide upon the particular project. And once the entrepreneur finalizes the project, then the next step is creating the project report. So project report is a very important document. A project report is a representation or conceptualization of his idea. So implementation will take time for entrepreneur to implement his particular idea. It will take time. Whatever he is planning to do, all those things conceptually it will be written in the project report. So if anybody looks at that particular project report, uh, anybody in the sense, mostly the I told you project report is used as a operating document which will guide entrepreneur from the conceptual conceptualization of the idea to implementation of the idea. That is a enterprise. Project report will act as a guide, operational document. Also it will be used for suppose if there is a capital requirement for meeting the investors, bankers, this will be the only document that will explain about entrepreneur's idea, and it will give some indicators to the investors and the bankers, and based upon which the confidence level of the banker or the investor, it depends on what kind of a report is there, what kind of a idea is there, what are the details you have put in, and based on that they will be ready to provide the finance or the provide the capital. That is the another most important use of the project report. Meaning and significance of the project report, as discussed in the previous section. uh, the definition of the project, as per the Webster New 20th Century Dictionary, it defines it as a scheme, a design, a proposal, something intended or devised. So that is the. I request everybody to join on time. It is already 5 minutes. 1 minute delay is fine, but don't delay too much. It will be an interruption. A project report or a business plan is a written statement of what an entrepreneur proposes to take up. So, what is a project report? It's kind of a business plan, and it is a written statement. Means project report will be in it is a written document where the entrepreneur tells what he is trying to do or what he is trying to establish. It is kind of a guide, frost, or course of action what the entrepreneur hopes to achieve in his business and how he is going to achieve it. So as I told you, it acts like a operational document, or there is a course of action is written there, and entrepreneur will take that particular course of action to achieve whatever his business plans are. So it will help in guiding the particular entrepreneur to achieve his goal. A project report serves like a kind of a big roadmap to reach the destination determined by the entrepreneur. So it acts like a big roadmap. So you must have heard about the word roadmap. Every company, whether it is a startup or it is an established company, every year, like sometimes they use annual, sometimes they use biannual roadmaps. They will put in which direction the organization should go, so that document is called as a roadmap. Every company, all IT industries, they have a roadmap how they want to drive their particular organization. Mainly the CEO and the team. So CEO, he could be the entrepreneur, or he would be selected by the board of directors. He's the one, and his team will put the roadmap, the direction in which the organization has to move. Those key factors will be included in the roadmap. And for the entrepreneur, the project report itself, it will serve as a roadmap until he establishes the organization or the enterprises. And later, once the enterprise gets established, the roadmaps can be used for further improvements or later stage of the establishment. Hence, a project report can be defined as a well-evolved course of action devised to achieve the specified objective within a specified period of a time. So, the project report is it is a very well evolved course of action. What is the evolved means? Well established course of action, and these are done in such a way that the whatever the objectives are set, those objectives will be met with a specific period of time. One important aspect of a establishing or implementing a project is the period of the time. Whatever the period of the time that is chosen, there should not be any change in that, right? If it finishes early, it is a good. Any project which delays will have a additional overhead costs, and sometimes that makes the project itself unviable because of the increased timeline. Timeline will makes a increased capital requirement, increased budget. Sometimes it will make the project unviable. So period of time is very important when you are doing any kind of a project. The period is very, very important. It is like an operating document. So operating document, it is like a operational manual, right? What needs to be done, everything will be documented. So whenever you buy any gadget or any particular product, it will come with the operating manual, it is called. So project report is similar to that. It is like a operating document, looking at which we will come to know what needs to be done. The preparation of project report is of a great significance for an entrepreneur. So whatever highlights we have mentioned so far, that makes it, the project report is a very vital document, very significant document for the entrepreneur. And the project report serves two essential purposes. Okay, it serves many purposes. Okay, the two essential purposes are: the first, project report is like a roadmap. It describes the direction the enterprise is going in, what is its goals are, what where it wants to be, and how it is going to get there. So all these questions are will be answered in the project report. What is the roadmap? So description of the roadmap, which direction it is going to go, and in order to go in that direction, what are the goals that are set, where it wants to be, using those goals, what is the next level it wants to achieve, and how to achieve those. So it will know like where it wants to see itself, and how it wants to be in that particular place. Everything will be documented in the project report, and that is how the project report will act as a roadmap to achieve those things. In addition, it enables the entrepreneur to know that he is proceeding in the right direction. Also, it will tell us the which direction he is going, what are the steps, and how to implement those steps, and whether that particular direction is correct or not. So how to know whether the particular direction is correct or not? The kind of inputs we get when we are going in the direction. Okay, it's one example is if you have heard the word reinforcement learning, RL. So it is part of a machine learning. In case of a reinforced learning, how the learning happens, how the machine will take a decision is, it will take action, and it will environment will give the feedback, and based on that feedback it will know whether it got a positive, we call it as a reward. That feedback is a reward. It will take the action, and environment will give it a reward. If that reward is good, then it will know the direction which is chosen is correct or not. If the kind of feedback it gets, or the reward it gets is negative, then it will know that action should not be taken. For example is driverless cars. So they use the reinforcement learning. So in case of a reinforcement learning, it will know which direction to, suppose if it is nearing any wall or a tree or any object, it will, when it takes action towards that, means if the car is moving in that action, that direction, the environment will give a negative points. When it gets the negative points, it will know that is not the right direction. Very simple example is uh, how babies learn walking. That is one example, good example of a reinforcement learning. In case of a reinforcement learning, a baby, when it learns to walk, so it will take a action, so it will step ahead, and it will know whether its body is balanced or not. That is the reward it is getting from the environment. If that reward is positive, then it will know it should put the next step or not. When it, suppose when it takes that step, and if it falls, then it will know that is not the right step. So that is how, that is a one example of the reinforcement learning, where the babies will learn how to walk. So that is how the project report will give a kind of a feedback that whether that particular project work is going in the right direction or not. Dan Steinhoff and John F. Burgess hold the view that without well spelled out goals and operational methods, most business flounder on the rocks of hard times. So, without having a proper, well defined goals and operational methods is a part of the report. Without having well established goals, very clear goals, and operational methods how to achieve those goals, without that most of the business will be a like they will hit a hard wall. That is a they will end up with a failure. The second purpose of the project report is to attract lenders and investors. So I told you, whenever you want the lenders or the investors to invest in your project, the only document that will be seen by the investor will be your project report. In a project report, we will see what is the content of the project report. There will be a lot of indicators for the investors. What is the return on investment? What is the capital requirement? What kind of a market is available? What is the demand? What is the ROI, return on investment? All those things will be part of those projects. And also the knowledge of the investors and the lenders. They can predict the success of the project or failure of the project. Accordingly, they will lend the money, or they will not. The preparation of project report is a beneficial for those small scale enterprises which apply for financial assistance from the financial institutions and commercial banks. So if this same report can be used for the financial assistance also. Financial assistance could be in the form of a government assistance program, they where they will give the finance maybe at the lower rate of interest. So if you want to avail those things, you have to have the project report. On the basis of this project report, the financial institutes make appraisal and decide whether the financial assistance should be given or not. So appraisal is what? They will evaluate that particular project, and they will make sure that whether this will be whether it's a viable project, whether the success rate will be high or not. Based on their appraisal, they have a lot of different tools they will use to do the appraisal. Once they do the appraisal, if the if they get a good confidence over that particular project, then they will provide the assistance, otherwise they will not. And if they agree to give the financial assistance, the next question is how much. You may not get all the assistance what you are requesting. Based on the assessment of the financial institution, maybe they will be ready to take a certain part of it. Okay, certain part in the sense, if it is like 100 crore project, maybe the institute will say like they will be ready to give 50 crores with based on their appraisal. Other organization which provide various assistance like work, shed land, shed or land, raw materials, etc. also make decision on the basis of this project report. If there are certain organization, for example, for providing the work, shed or land, there are some government bodies like one example is a KIADB. KIADB is a Industrial Development Board. That Industrial Development Board, they allot the lands, and in some places they have the sheds, okay, fully built sheds. When they are allocating the land, they will consider the project report, and based on the report they might allocate the whatever the required land and raw material. Suppose you have a requirement of the raw material, whoever is providing you the raw material, he may look at the project report, and if you are looking for any credit, okay, many businesses they work on the credit. What is the credit is, you will take the raw material on a credit of, let's say, 60 days, means until you get the material on day one, and you will make the payment on the 61st day, so you will get a credit for 60 days. How that will be beneficial is to reduce your working capital. Let us say like you have the particular supplier has a confidence in your project, he will be ready to provide the raw material with certain days of credit. And when this particular organization takes that raw material, let us say within 30 days it will convert that into a finished product, and let us say they are able to sell at least 50% or 60% of those products in next 30 days. So within that 60 days, the enterprise will generate some amount of money. That money can be given to the raw material. That is how the money can be rotated. If there is any proposal like that for the entrepreneur, any ideas or any strategies like that, if you want to negotiate with the various suppliers and the vendors, he has to have the project report. Based on the project report, people will make a decision. Now, what are the contents of a project report? So, what are the different items that should be included in the project report? And this particular project report is for setting up the enterprise. This project report is totally different from, as I told you before, your final year project report. Your final year project report, the guidelines are given by the university, the VTU. According to those guidelines, you will prepare the project report. These are the general guidelines, okay. And also there is a we will see in the next session, there is also guidelines given by the government agencies what should be present in the project report, and entrepreneur will prepare the project report according to that format. In general, what should be there in the project report is a general information, okay, general information about the project, about the entrepreneur and his experiences, things like that. Then promoter, if there are any promoters including the entrepreneur, if it is a partnership firm, okay, there will be many partners. Information about the promoters, information, their qualification, their education, their experiences, those are the things that will be included in the promoter. Location, where this particular project will be implemented, so that location information should be there. Land and building, if there is a land, what is the size of the land, what kind of a land it is, those information. If it is a building, what is the building carpet area, what are the security things that are available. There are many things will be regarding the building will be included. Yeah, whether it is the building is provided with infrastructure or not, all those information will be provided here. Plant and machinery. So we have to give the information about the plant and what kind of machineries are required. Okay, their capacity, their size, their power requirement, all those information should be included for the plant and the machinery. Production process, what is the process that is going to be used for making the particular product. So production process should be included. What are the utilities that are required? Okay, all should be mentioned. When you say utilities, water, how much water is required on a daily basis, how much power is required, so a lot of other utilities, all the details should be included. Transport and the communication, so what kind of a transportation will be used for uh, like bringing the raw material, sending the finished products, transportation of the human resources, things like that. And what are the communication requirement is there for that particular project. Communication like internet, telephone, things like that. And raw material, we have to give the information about the a raw material, what kind of a raw material is available, where it is available, how to procure it, and how the raw material, whether it is abundant or there is any constraint on the raw material, all those information should be provided. So this is the general headings of the information. Now we will look into each of these, what detailed information we have to provide under these heads. Okay, we have more manpower requirement. What skill is required? Semi-skilled resources or skilled resources, their availability, how to recruit them, all those information. Product, regarding the product, what kind of a product is being developed or being created, its quality and its pricing, all the specifications should be given for the product. Market, you will provide the what is the current market size, and who are the various competitors, and what is the in general demand, and what is the supply, if there is any gap between the supply and the demand, that should be specified. Recruitment of requirement of a working capital. So I told you about the what is a working capital. Working capital is the cost that you will incur on a monthly basis, to suppose for example to run a particular industry for 1 month. What is your capital requirement? Means for during this 1 month you have to pay for the utilities, water bills, electricity bills, telephone bills, all those bills will be there. And number of people will be working there. For those number of people working, you have to provide the salary. If there is any other expenses other than all these things, you have to have a capital for all the operational things. So working of that particular industry, that is called as a working capital. I gave you one example of a raw material, right? When you are procuring the raw material, if let us say the raw material will cost you for a 1 month, you need a raw material that will be, let's say, 10 crores. So 10 crores is a part of your working capital. If the raw material has to be procured by making a full payment, so that would be part of the working capital. Every month you need 10 crores for the raw material and other costs. If you have any arrangement of the credit, so I told about that credit, it is how based on the project report, how you do the negotiation based on the kind of a raw material. Negotiation could be possible where you can get a credit. When you get a raw material for the credit, what will happen is that working capital will get postponed by the the payment for the raw material will get postponed by 2 months. And in those 2 months you can rotate that raw material, convert into product, make the sales, and you can generate revenue. So that is how you can take care of the working capital. So the requirement of the working capital should be mentioned. Requirement of funds, how much funds are required, cost of production and profitability of first 10 years. Cost of production, in order to make certain product, what are the costs that are incurred? So how much cost you are incurring to produce one product, that should be specified. So when you are calculating the cost of production, let us say for one particular product which will get converted from raw material to finished product, what are the different costs incurred? First is the raw material cost, then is the resources, utility cost, then if that particular uh, plant is on a lease or a rental basis, you have to incorporate that cost also. If there is a transportation involved, you have to include the transportation, including all the cost that have been incurred to produce this product. You have to incorporate all that and come up with the final cost of production. And uh, uh, once you have the final cost of a product, then you will add upon it the profit margin, how much you want to have, and then you will calculate the profitability for 10 years. Means once you make your um, project operational, from that point to next 10 years, what is the profitability you have to provide in the report. Then break even analysis. What is a break even? Break even is like we already saw, like there are so many costs that needs to be incurred in the project, and there is a cost, and by selling that finished product we make a profit. So the break even analysis is how much production you have to make in order the cost you are incurring, the profit you are making are exactly equal. Means you are not incurring any loss or you are not making profit. That is called as a break even analysis. Let us say that particular company is making some kind of a product. Let us say in a month, if it makes 10,000 such products, okay, maybe let's say for simplicity we'll assume a certain company making laptops. If it makes at least a 10,000 laptops and sells all the 10,000 in a month, then it will cover all the whatever the profit that is received will cover all the cost. Means that is a break even. If you are producing 10,000 laptops and you are selling it, you are in a stage where you are make no profit or no loss. That is a break even. If you want to make a profit, you have to go beyond that break even. So if you want to make a profit from 10,000, you have to increase it to 15,000. So at least you should be able to sell 15,000 or 20,000 laptops in order to make profit, because 10,000 is your break even. So for every project, we have to have the break even analysis, where the production level will be assessed and the sales level will be assessed. Schedule of implementation. So schedule is what, when you are going to do what other things. Okay, how you are going to do different task, and what is the schedule for that. For say you have a project implementation of 6 months. Within this 6 months, what you will do for the first 15 days, what you will do for the next 15 days. So complete schedule of implementation. After 6 months it should be operational, or the project should be complete. That schedule should be incorporated into the project report. So we'll look into what are the details about under these 17 heads, what we should include. General information, information on product profile and product details. So whatever the product you are planning to produce, you should give the general idea or information of that product with the specification. Promoter, his her educational qualification, work experience, project related experience. Whoever is the promoter, including the entrepreneur, we have to give the educational qualification in that project report. If they have any kind of a work experience. Why work experience is, if this particular project is related to their experience, the success rate is higher. So this will give a information to the investor, where he will be more confident, because the promoter himself is experienced in that particular domain, whichever the project they are planning to do it. If they are experienced, it will give a confidence. Okay, any project related experience, so that will be that should be mentioned. Location, exact location of the project, lease or freehold location advantages. We have to give the exact location where it is located, whether it is fully owned, whether it is leased, or whether it is rented. That information should be given. And if there are any advantages of that particular location, by having that project in that location uh, inherently gives some kind of advantages, that should be specified. Land and building, land area, construction detailed plan, and estimate along with the plant layout. So here the land and building, how much area is there, okay, that you have to specify. How much is the, if it is a land, how much is the construction area, how much is the open area, and what type of a construction. What type of a construction means what, whether it is like a concrete building, or it is done with metallic frames. So type of construction you have to specify. And what is the cost of construction, so you have to specify how much you are going to incur the cost on the construction for making the kind of a construction you are looking for. How much cost is you are going to incur, that should be specified. Detailed plan and estimate along with the plant layout. So detailed civil plan should be there, and what is the layout of that particular building, that should be provided. Plant and machinery, and these are like you have to remember one thing here. This report is created immediately after finalizing, that is the selection of the project. You do not have any final details. So land, you, maybe it is a proposed land, okay, building is a proposed building, okay, and layout is also proposed. So all these are not existing at the time of making the report. So these are the requirements. Maybe you can get it, the building itself as a leased, or you have to buy a land and there you have to do the construction. So all those things should be included in the report under land and building. Plant and machinery, details of the machinery required. So what kind of a machinery is required for that particular project, and their capacity. Capacity is like how much units they can produce per hour, and who are the suppliers who can supply such machines. Supplier information should be there with their address, contact details, and what is the cost of those machineries. And when you are giving the cost of the machineries, maybe you will have a quotation from those suppliers. You can get the cost from the quotations, and quotations will act as a supplementary document which will give a evidence for whatever the cost you are proposing. Various alternatives are available, and whenever you are giving machinery, if there is any alternatives are available, that should be specified. Cost of miscellaneous assets, if there is any miscellaneous assets, you have to mention the cost of that. Production process, a description of a production process, process chart, technical know-how, technology alternatives available, production program. So you have to give a description about what is the production process. Production process means what, from raw material, how you are going to convert it into the finished product. That process description should be there, and if there is a process chart, technical information, that should be provided. And that should be all the technical information related to the process of production should be included. Utilities, what are the different utilities your project will require, whether your project will require water, power. If water is required, how much water is required, and what are the sources. You have to specify that. The power requirement, how much power is required, 100 megawatt, okay, 150 megawatt. What is the source of that power? Are you planning to have some for example, the sugar factories, they will do the cogeneration, means certain requirement of the power is produced by the cogeneration facilities that are inside using the biogas. they will burn the bagasse and they produce electricity. The same electricity is consumed by the particular factory, that is called cogeneration. If there is any plan like that, solar panels, right? uh, so those whatever the things are there, that should be provided in the power requirement. Steam is required, you should specify that. Compressed air requirement, if it is there, it should be specified. Cost estimates, sources of utilities. Cost estimates means approximately how much you will how much cost you will incur on these water bills. So what kind of a water bill you can expect, what kind of a electricity bill you can expect. So by having steam and compressed air, how much cost will be incurred. And sources, most important is sources, how you are going to get those utilities should be provided. Transport and communication, mode, possibility of getting the cost. So this is like the transportation requirement and the communication requirement. Transportation for acquiring the raw material and sending the finished products, distribution, transportation of the human resources, whatever the other transportations related to the project should be specified, and how much cost will be incurred on those particular transportation should be mentioned. And communication requirement, so communication is internet, telephone, all those, how much cost you are going to incur, that should be specified. Raw material, list of raw material required by a quality and quantity, sources of procurement, cost of raw material, tie-up arrangements, if any, for procurement of raw material, alternate raw material. So here we have to provide a list of raw material required for coming up with a particular product, finished product. You might require, let us say, 3 to 4 raw material. You should give the information about that, and what kind of a what quality of raw material required, how much raw material is required, and where you are going to procure. The sources, different sources should be mentioned, and how much is the cost. And tie-up arrangements, I just mentioned, like if there is a, if you have any credit kind of a arrangement with the raw material, the supplier of that raw material, you can specify, there is a credit arrangement with the particular supplier of the raw material. Those arrangements should be specified. And one more thing important is alternative should be provided. If there is a any alternative raw material that can be used for making the finished product, those details should be included. Manpower requirement by skilled, semi-skilled, sources of manpower supply, cost of procurement, requirement of a training and its cost, all those should be specified. So how many manpower you will require, okay, and whether you require skilled or semi-skilled, whether they require additional training, and cost of that training, and cost of having the manpower, all those should be specified. And the cost of the manpower is like the salary, whatever the salary and other benefits that you give, that should be calculated, and that should be put in the this particular head. Products, product mix, estimated sales distribution channels, competitions and their capacities, product standard, input output ratio, product substitute. So all this regarding the product, you have to give the what are the product mix. Suppose you are giving a product mix, you don't have a one finished product, also there are some byproducts. If there is a any such kind of a thing, you should give that product mix. And what is your estimation of the sales through the distribution channels, and what is the competitions that is there, and if there is a competitor, what is his capacity, how much he is producing, and what is the standard of the product, input output ratio, and the product substitute. If there is any substitute for that product, that information should be given. Next is the information about the market, end user of the product. You should know who is the end user of the product that you are producing. Distribution of market as local, national, international, trade practices, sales promotion devices, proposed market research. So all these things should be, if there is a market, what is the local market, what is the national market, international market, any kind of trade practices should be used, sales promotion, what is the your idea of having the sales promotions so that sales is increased, and uh, for analyzing the market, what kind of a market research you are proposing, all those information should be provided. Requirement of working capital, required sources of working capital, need for collateral security, nature and extent of credit facilities offered and available. Working capital to make sure the particular organization or the enterprise is operational. Whatever the cost you incur, to make sure that it is running without any problem, that is called as a working capital. How much is the working capital you should tell, and what is the source of working capital, whether you have a additional loans, okay, or any other arrangements. And one example is the nature and extent of the credit facilities. If there is any credit facilities, you should be giving those details. Next is requirement of funds. How much is the requirement of this particular enterprise? The entrepreneur should break up the project cost. Whatever the cost you are going to incur, you have to break up the cost, and you should give the details of every cost. For example, for acquiring a land or leasing land, this is the cost. Building, okay, machinery, miscellaneous assets, preliminary expenses, contingency and margin money for working capital, arrangement for meeting the cost of setting up the project. So all the the fund requirement, total fund requirement should be provided. Next is the cost of production. You have to specify what is the cost of production and profitability of first 10 years. So cost of production is considering all the costs, okay, uh, from the raw material to the finished product, whatever the cost you are incurring. So you have to include all the cost heads, and then you will come up with a particular cost of production for each unit of finished product. And profitability, how much is the profits you are going to earn in the next 10 years, you have to specify. Break even analysis, as I just told you, break even analysis is nothing but no profit no loss. You have to find that. And a detailed schedule, when what will be done, who will be doing, that particular schedule should be provided. Formulation of a project report. A project report is like a roadmap, and it is a important operating document. What information and how much information it contains depend on the size of the enterprises. Okay, how much information is should be included, it also depends on the size, whether it's a small scale or a large scale or a mid scale industry. For example, for small scale enterprises, we need not include the technology. Okay, but for large scale, the technology is very important. Within the small scale enterprises too, all information may not be homogeneous for all the units. So you may not include all the information. Some information which is relevant can be included. One of the management practitioner, Vinod Gupta, has given a general set of information in his study, Formation of Project Report. So these are the information. According to Gupta, project formulation divide the process of project development into 8 distinct sequential stages. So that how you can classify or distinguish is using these sequential stages: general information, project description, market potential, capital cost and source of finance, assessment of working capital requirement, other financial aspects, economical and social variables, project implementation. So we will look into this formulation of the project report in the next session.